Talk about the different formats and files and programs that we'll use to actually get a hold of the data. As you know, there's a lot of data available nowadays, and we'll use a Python library called Pandas to access that data and get information about it. There are two common formats for the data that we're going to look at: the comma-separated value, CSV file, and the data frame. A CSV file is something that you can open in many different programs. It's a universal format that's similar to .txt, .mp3, JPEG, etc. Here I have a CSV file that I have opened in Microsoft Excel. This CSV file, contains data related to the Bill Clinton 1998 impeachment trial. A CSV file is essentially just a spreadsheet in text form, and lots of different programs can open them. So to get started, I want you to create a folder called Amazing Pandas, somewhere where you will know where it is. And from Blackboard, you need to download the impeach.csv file to the Amazing Pandas folder. And then in JupyterLab, change the working directory to Amazing Pandas. I'm going to go to my JupyterLab. Something that's cool is I can actually create a new folder directly from JupyterLab. I'm going to create one called Amazing Pandas. I don't need to download this file because I already have it on my computer, but I do need to save a copy to the Amazing Pandas folder so I know where it is. So I'm saving my impeach.csv, and now if I go back to my JupyterLab, you see that the impeach.csv file is in the Amazing Pandas folder, and I'm going to open a new notebook. If you don't have the file downloaded, when you go into Blackboard, you will just need to make sure you download it into this folder. And if you weren't in Amazing Pandas, make sure that you are. So working directory, but you want to be in Amazing Pandas. Now that I have JupyterLab open and I have the right working directory and I have impeach.csv, it's always useful when you're starting this to make sure that you have some understanding of data you're working. You'd like to know things like where it came from, what it represents, and what the different variables are. So I have information about this data set that is from the American Statistical Association. In 1998, President Bill Clinton was, and what that means is being impeached is essentially like being indicted. And then the 100 senators in the U.S. Senate cast their votes as to whether or not he was guilty on the two charges. So we need to know some context for this. The information that is available in this data set, the features, the name of the senator, state, whether they voted guilty or not guilty. And you see here that vote on Article 1 is 0 equals not guilty, 1 equals guilty. Vote on Article 2, the total number of votes for guilt, party, 0 is Democrat, 1 is Republican. How conservative they are, that was something that was calculated by the American Conservative Union. The percent of the vote Clinton received in the 1996 presidential election in each state, which is something like a proxy for his popularity in the senator's state, the year that the senator's seat is up, and whether or not they were a first-term senator. Let's go ahead and import Pandas and load the information, and let's see how we would start getting at this information using Pandas. And the way we're going to do that is first, we're going to import Pandas as PD, and then we will hit Shift-Enter. What that should do is it should load Pandas into our memory, and instead of calling it Pandas all the time, we're just going to call it PD. So any functions that belong to Pandas we call with PD dot and then the name of what we're trying to do. In order to load, this should not be R, this should be Python, my apologies. There should be a pd.readcsv command that allows you to read this CSV file. I want to actually store that in something. If I just do pd.readcsv, impeach.csv, and hit Shift-Enter, it does what I asked it to do. It gives me this information. But then I don't know what I can do with it from there. So what we always want to do is you always want to follow the pattern y equals f of x. I always want to have a variable that I'm storing this in. So I'm going to call this impeach_df for data frame. And you notice by doing that, it no longer shows me that long output. And now I have impeach_df stored as a data frame.